We are not about convincing anybody. I mean, we've been called some things recently, traveling drug show, some really funny things in regards to what we do with our retreats and our class with the ketamine. We're not about convincing anyone. If you don't feel called inside to work with us, then it's not a fit.
And welcome, everyone.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode.
Yeah. Oh, we're doing this. I didn't know. Okay, good. I'm on board now.
Welcome to this week's episode. I don't ever tell him what we're doing.
Really am.
He has no idea.
It's the best way to handle it. Just, shotgun it.
Well, thanks for joining us for yet another episode. I thought it was more than time, meaning we should have done this maybe a couple weeks ago. But since it's so hot in the headlines right now, I thought this was a perfect opportunity to take this week, especially after just completing our fourth ketamine therapy breathwork retreat, to talk about what ketamine is, what it isn't, what our thoughts and opinions are on the Mathew situation, and how ketamine actually may be able to help you in your journey, and how you may not be the right person for ketamine in your journey. I just thought it was a really good time.
No, it's kind of perfect. I mean, we need justice for Mathew. Isn't that what the People magazine said?
He's saying that with some sarcasm.
Well, sarcasm. I mean, obviously sympathy too. I'm sorry the guy, that happened to the guy. I'm sure. Never knew him personally, obviously, but seeing in the media of the years of issues he had, which, listen, we've all had addiction in our lives, whether it be ourselves or somebody that we love. And it's a very hard thing to deal with, both for the person going through it and the people watching it. So of course, sympathy goes out to the man, but what I know about ketamine and what they portray, some circles portray, are totally two different things. I know it as a user and what it's done for me. I'll be honest, both not just mentally, physically, but also what I've watched people transition from and into without a daily dose or anything like that. I've seen it just with somebody doing it, once or three times. Huge transformation. So, when you see that and you hear of people that, have come to our retreat and have done 3 journeys in that retreat, in a level 10 pain, that's why they came to the retreat, and to get on a call a few months after that retreat and say their pain is now at a level 2. So when you hear that and you hear these transformations and it being prescribed to people, and I will say from a progressive medical people that are prescribing this to people to help them with their depression and with their anxiety. And now that we know it's now helping pain, it's a time where we have to look at this. We have to see it. If it's helping people, why would we suddenly start to say, oh, that's not good? Unless, and listen, I'm not a conspiracy guy and I don't want to bring all this in. Maybe I am, but as a businessman, I know this. If I have a product and suddenly that product is being beaten by another product, chances are I'm going to fight, right? What I've seen in ketamine, I have not seen in any pharmaceutical drug ever. I don't take any pharmaceuticals at all. Neither does she. And not because I'm against all that or anything. It's just I have no need. I have my mind, and I really do believe that our thoughts do create our state. And I try to fill my mind with the right stuff. She tries to fill her mind with the right stuff. So we're in the right state. So we're not living in fear of sickness, whatever, right? So if you watch all that is going to make you fearful, chances are you're going to be fearful for whatever reason, your safety, your health, whatever. But I think this being in the headline, it has a very good thing, I think, because it puts a spotlight on it. Let's see it for all the negative it is. But we learn early in school from our parents, there's negative and positive to things. So, when you go down a road, you have to look at the negatives, and then you have to look at the positive. If the positive outweighs the negative, we move in that direction, right? And I have seen positive. In fact, I've only seen positive. And, of all the people that have come to our retreats, all the people that have gone to other retreats that we attended, and also the companies and the progressive, what is that, honey? Medical doctors, I guess. It's probably the best way to say it. Yes. Yes. Progressive physicians seeing the need. And we met one that owns a ketamine clinic. And, she went down the road herself where she had trauma. I'm not sure what it was, but I think it was a family trauma, probably a loss or something like that. And she was looking for help. Even though she was anesthesiologist, she was still looking for help. And she finally turned to ketamine, and it relieved her of that pain, of that fear, of that loss. So then she put it all together, and now she wants to help other people, right? Because when we're affected, when we suffer from something and suddenly, you don't, you're going to want to share that with people that are still suffering. And they may say, sign me up, or absolutely that's not for me. But at least we try, right? That's been my journey, 100% her journey. And the people that we've met in this field, I believe that's their journey as well. So I guess that I just kind of shot from the hip there, baby.
I knew you did.
I just kind of jumped, and I've been talking for the last hour.
Okay.
So I'm sorry.
So let me jump in here.
Yes.
So I can have sort of a linear progression. So first thing I'll start with is we've actually received more, now that we're becoming more vocal about what we do and how we use ketamine in our process. Of course, that opens it up for people asking us more questions, maybe some negative feedback, people who don't believe in it. So again, like I said, this is really good timing I always say you should educate yourself. Like, if you think something's bad or blah, 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 educate yourself as opposed to just taking someone's perspective. So don't just take our perspective, go educate yourself on it. So first, let's start with the Mathew Perry thing. There are a few things that we know. Number one, he was in water, and he drowned in his hot tub when they found him. And number two, he had an incredibly high dose of ketamine in his system, much higher than would be regular administered if somebody was doing ketamine therapy.
Was there any other things in his system?
Yeah, I believe there was a few other things in his system. So this is what I'll say to that. We don't know what was going on in Mathew Perry's mind. We don't pretend to know any of that, but this is what I'll say. Number one, anyone who has done ketamine with us in our environments, okay, we are not providers. We don't prescribe the medicine. We have two physicians that do, who are incredibly confident in what they do, and have a shit ton of integrity
and experience.
So anyone that's done ketamine with us would tell you they would never get in water after taking a dose. Ever, never get in water. Ketamine is a dissociative anesthetic. So it means you're not going to be really in your body while you're having an experience. You would never get into water. It's something that obviously we would make sure, but anyone who works with us knows they would not get in water. Number two, the dosage that we use and recommend to people, not us, our physician, is based on a whole heap of things that includes, their body weight, their size, but also what we take into consideration is their background. Scott and I do pre-screens with them for our class and for our retreats. We pre-screen them based on our own experience of not only the medicine ourselves, but working as mentors, guides, and coaches for the last 6 years. So we use that. We take all that into consideration. The other thing is the way we are using ketamine, utilizing ketamine at our retreats and in our classes, is also very spiritually based. Meaning we are not just psychologists trying to help people through depression and anxiety that are working at only the psychological level. That's not us. We have taken it one step up, and we work with people who already have a base of tools that they use in their life, community or support that they have in their life. They have already done inner work on themselves. In other words, they're not coming to us having no previous experience of having not done any inner work at all. We would refer them to a psychiatrist, psychologist, ketamine clinic. We don't work with those people. So we're very clear on who we work with. Did you want to say anything else about the Mathew Perry part?
Yeah, again, it's a sad story, but, and who knows what happened. I mean, maybe he was in the hot tub and he took the ketamine, because once you take ketamine, and especially at that dose, you're not walking around. As far as, again, to add what she said, as far as what we do at our retreats, we do group journeys. We have people all on the floor in meditation, and it's basically a meditation, but we believe that music and frequency and energy are integral to the journey. So if frequency is a big deal, that's why we are very choosy about the music that we use to deliver an amazing experience. The music is almost as important as the ketamine. Obviously the ketamine helps you absorb the music, and it's a good way to put it. And it's very healing. So that frequency can also explain why it's having an effect to go from a level 10 pain to a level 2 pain, because maybe that frequency is starting to work with the body as much as the ketamine is working with the brain. So that's number one at our retreats. And also, like she said, we are not providers. We're not providers. We're coaches. We're people that have been through it, have been through the trauma, also the healing. You never stop healing, because it's the human body, man. You're going to heal constantly. And the lessons that keep being learned is important to bring it into the community that we work with. We've seen amazing results. And we also have 2 physicians that regularly attend our workshops to provide that element of safety. We provide a safe space, a very safe and comfortable and loving space for you. And then, our providers provide that safety factor, the physical safety factor, to make sure your dose is correctly, to talk about it. Integration is huge for us. Also, the integration from our physicians to the people that attend, very huge. So it's kind of like you're all wrapped up in a nice warm blanket. So I guess that's it. I need to say about that.
Yeah, and again, I think something that's really important for us to address is that, of course, anything can be used in a harmful way or in a helpful healing way. I mean, everything that you do can be used in that way. Pain medicine that you get prescribed from a doctor can help you with pain, or if taken too much with the wrong set and setting and the wrong intention, can kill you by overdose. So just like anything else, a gun can shoot somebody and kill them done in malice, like done with anger and hate. A gun can also save somebody's life. So ketamine is a very powerful tool just like that. Technology, our phones, all of these things have the potential to really help us if we are using them with the right guides, the right people that are providing it, with the right set and setting, and with the right intention. If you're looking to quickly, have a ketamine experience and gain some insight and then go back into your corporate life where you don't really want to integrate any of the insights, we're not for you. We're not the people you want to work with. There are at-home ketamine providers out there that don't have a lot of restrictions, support, and they're prescribing ketamine to people without really having a lot of support. We didn't want to do that. What we do is totally different what they're doing. So as far as, again, wrap it up on the Mathew Perry thing, there was a lot of other things to take in consideration with Mathew Perry. It was not a situation that was black and white. If someone goes and buys a 5th of vodka at the liquor store, drinks it, gets in the car, drives, and kills someone, that person shouldn't have been drinking and driving. Does that mean all liquor stores need to shut down? No, because we have to hold ourselves to some self-responsibility. We have to do that, obviously. Obviously, as guides and mentors and providers of this space that we're offering, we're going to do everything we can to keep it safe, also knowing that things happen. People are self-sovereign and they can do their own things. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is integration and a system and framework for integration. So there are many plant medicine shamans, psilocybin, all under plant medicine. There are many ketamine providers that they provide the ketamine to provide the transformation, and then that's it. What we have is an actual framework called our quadrant theory, which is literally a framework for integration into your life. We're using the ketamine so that it strengthens this framework, the quadrant theory. So we are not just offering ketamine again as a 1-off, 2-off, 3-off for people to have a good time. We're offering it as a tool as well as alongside breath work and a framework that will help you with full integration. We teach this framework at the retreats. The whole last day is spent on integration.
I have to take care of something.
He has to take care of something right now. We spend the whole last day on integration, and then people also have the option of joining that 12-week quadrant theory class. So like I said, they can get a full framework for what that is. The other thing I want to say is we are not about convincing anybody. I mean, we've been called some things recently, traveling drug show, some really funny things in regards to what we do with our retreats and our class with the ketamine. We're not about convincing anyone. If you don't feel called inside to work with us, then it's not a fit. There is something out there for you, and I would recommend ketamine as a treatment option if you struggle with anxiety, if you struggle with depression, if you are struggling spiritually and you're just at a plateau and you want to connect deeper, you don't feel like you're in alignment with your true self, I recommend ketamine for you, whether that be with us or, like I said, any other provider. What I would recommend to you, if ketamine is calling to you, number one, find guides, providers, whatever it be, that have experience, that also have some sort of a framework. They're not just giving you the ketamine and then saying, go deal with it yourself. So that they have some sort of a framework, that you have the right intention. Your intention, what you want to get from this medicine, is going to direct your experience. It's going to navigate where you're going to go with this. And unlike other plant medicines where you're in the journey for 7-8 hours, where you're purging, where it can be some really deep emotional stuff, ketamine doesn't do that. It's an hour long. It's very angelic. Wow, we've got some big storms happening
Big
right
wind.
now. It's very angelic. It's more peaceful than a lot of these deep,
Yeah, it's very soft. But just to kind of wrap this up, right? 2 things. Now, I had them a minute ago. I had those 2 things, and now I have to remember those 2 things. Oh, number 1, the reason why you would come to us is because we provide all of it. You come to whether you do our online course where we utilize, or you come to our retreat, we are there. We are there to provide you all the assistance, all the integration, which is absolutely huge, and we do that with our quadrant theory program, and helping you understand why you are the way you think you are, and along with the ketamine to help really come across those blocks that have been there for you. Some people do it with meditation. They don't need anything. Some people do it with breath work. I've watched hundreds. They don't need anything else. But for the person that does, that's why we do what we do. And we're very good at it. And we also provide, obviously, the physical prescribers and doctors and people that we work with. Finally, the one thing I started to kind of talk about in the very beginning of this video is to understand something. Ketamine is a compound. It's compounded in a pharmacy. The compound, it's not prescribed it's not a prescription drug from a drug company. So they're not selling something. And being a business owner, I know that there's a lot to that in a way. If you can kind of read between the lines. That's what I love about ketamine. It's a compound. And there's some mysteries to it. Not really sure what it's doing or how it's doing it. But I kind of like that. I like not knowing, because I look at that as it's coming from somewhere else and maybe not us human beings. So I think that really kind of handles the whole
I wanted to add 2 last things.
Oh boy, you're stuck.
2 last things really quickly. And I sort of already said this, but I really want to pound this home. Ketamine is not the only answer. It's one option. If it calls to you, it's one option. It's not the end all be all. And it's most definitely, if you don't integrate, it won't matter. Just like any other profound spiritual experience, plant medicine experience, whatever experience you have, if you aren't integrating the tools, it won't last. It'll be a novel experience just like any other one you have. You have to keep those neural pathways continuously moving to each other and reconnecting with each other. It's not the end all be all. You still have to do the work. It's just going to help you see that perspective and move in that direction from a way that you haven't been able to see it before. And lastly, we say this all the time, the reason I love ketamine, I know he does so much, and why we love to be stewards of the medicine and offer it to people, is because it takes away the guru syndrome, meaning it's not Scott and I sitting up there as the gurus and enlightened teachers telling you this is how you have to do it and that's how you have to do it. The ketamine is your own guru. The ketamine is connecting you with your own insights, with your own clarity, with your own teaching, with things that you need to do internally. Scott and I never, ever, ever pretend to have it all figured out. We never, ever, ever pretend to be these perfect human beings. I think our superpower is our authenticity, and that we're very honest in saying these are the struggles we go through. We struggle. We're on the path. We're on the journey. But what other, I'd rather learn from a teacher that's like, hey, I go through it too. I'm not perfect. I'm not an enlightened being, and you should not give us your power ever. We don't want your power. We want you to find your own power. And that's really what I think is important, is that ketamine's going to reconnect you back with your own internal power. So it's not coming from Scott and I.
Okay. That's it.
That's it, people. So let us know in the comments if this was helpful. Please let us know. Did it help you with some insights or some clarity? Did it help you maybe with some misinformation out there? Share it if you think this is helpful. Maybe send it to a family member that may be interested, but they're hearing all this stuff and they're not really sure, or you've come across our content talking about ketamine, and share it with somebody that you think would be helpful. Let us know if there's any other questions that you guys have about ketamine and our process and how we use it, so that we can be sure to address that. And of course, at the end of the day, if this was helpful, remember to like, subscribe, click the little red bell so you'll know every time an episode goes live. If you want more info on our retreats, links are in the description. We love you all. Goodbye.